I'm Sam of Stitchy Sam here on FlossTube, but also on Instagram. Welcome to my channel and welcome back those lovely people that have visited before. It's so good to see you, especially all the new subscribers. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy what you see today. I have big news. I have big milestones that have been met on various different projects, and I've actually finished 2 things. Now I've got my notes down here on my Kindle, so if I am looking down, that would be why. So please bear with me. And I've also got a stack of whips here. Now I'm sat on my stitching chair purely because it is the coolest part of the room, of the building to be sat in currently, because we're going through some unseasonably warm weather here in the UK. So excuse my casual attire and not sitting somewhere a bit brighter. And I can see there's lots of shadows behind me, but hopefully it's not too distracting and you can see the projects really well. So the first thing I worked on and finished in May was my bookshelf 2023. Now this was my book tracker for the year 2023 and also came, I think, second in my March Madness. So I really got really close to finishing it. I just thought, why not just pick it up again? Sorry, I just need to do it. Right, okay, so here's my book tracker, and basically it tracks the type of books that I read during that year. And I found some text for just to put 2023, so there's some context there. But it really stitched up really quickly, and it only really took me a week's worth of stitching. So I'm really pleased with how that looks. Really love all of the colours. Reading really is my other passion. I've usually got 2 or 3 books on at a time. Digital books, physical books, audio books. I'm really not that fussy. If I'm getting ready or eating breakfast or doing something that my hands are otherwise occupied, I'll have my audio book on. So if you want to chat about that, or if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I'll include part of what I've been reading that month as well. So it's a fairly small design, you can tell it's smaller than my hand. I'm thinking of getting that framed. I think it's the right dimensions to frame that myself. Sorry, this is stitched on, the design is by Stitching Cabin, and it's stitched on 18 count dyed fabric from Megan at Coffee Crafts. She doesn't name her fabrics, but as you can see, it's some sort of grey mottled effect. I just thought that would just make it look great, and I love how the colours stand out. I did make a couple of personalisations after stitching the globe and the sea element not really showing up and standing out. I made this plant pot a darker blue. These are all CXC threads, 2 strands over 1 on the 18 count. I did actually feel was quite bulky. It is thicker threads than or yarn than DMC, so that's probably the reason why. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this one has turned out. So I'll put that one to one side. Yeah, so that was my bookshelf. The second finish was my spring rabbit. Now this is a kit from Eva Rosenstand, and I was gifted this for my first Mother's Day back in 2017. And I started it. Took me a few years to actually start it. I started it on the 25th of February 2023, and I finished it on the 27th of May 2026. So this was all the kit's own materials. It's 28 count linen, and it is DMC threads, and it is 2/2. And I just love, and it just the bright colours, the daffodils, the promise of spring, and I thought it was quite apt given to finish it in May, just as spring is coming towards and at the end. And so it's the end of this project. The back stitch, there wasn't too much back stitch in it, and again, it stitched up quite quickly. I stitched on that for about a week as well, and that finished that smallish design off. And I've sort of got the bug of these finishing, not just starting all the time. So yeah, what I'm going to do is, now I've got finished with this kit, I'm going to give away the chart, which is unmarked because I used a working copy, but also the remaining threads so you can colour match. Whilst they are DMC threads, it doesn't actually tell you the DMC numbers, but I think you could probably just pick your own greens and yellows in your own colour scheme for that quite easily. The rabbit, I've got quite a few threads left of those browns, so you might actually be able to do most of that rabbit without sourcing any new ones. So if you want to have this chart, can you please leave me a comment with spring in the title, in your comment, sorry, spring, so the word spring in your comment, and I shall be drawing that just shortly before my next video towards the end of June, beginning of July. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's what we're doing. That's my working copy there, because you'd see straight onto the actual chart. So it's a brand new chart, well, as new as it gets. So you can have the chart and the leftover threads, and I hope whoever has this will enjoy it as much as I do. This is only open to viewers in the UK, just because postage abroad is just crazy at the moment. So sorry about that, but needs must. So okay, so yeah, so I really enjoyed all of the finishes. I've done March, May Mayhem before. I mean May Mayhem, or in the past, or May, yeah, I think that's what some people call it. Yeah, so I've done Mania, some other people call it, where I started loads of designs, which was fun, but I just knew that I really wanted to get my my whips pile down this year, so I decided to have that. What that does mean is it's freed up a few spaces on my whip go board, and what I've decided is, in place of the bookshelf, I have inserted Lakeside Village, which I don't have with me, but this is what Lakeside Village looks like, or will look like when it's finished. And also I have put in place of I've done Made to Create, which I finished last month. I put Lakeside Village in to replace that. Then to replace the bookshelf, I've chosen Sycamore Gap, which is a Lucy Pittaway design, which really needs some love on it. So this is what Sycamore Gap looks like when it's complete. But I need your help on deciding what I should replace Spring Rabbit with. Should I choose something that's old and neglected and I've had for very many years, or should I just pick something that I really want to stitch, such as the turtle that I have designed? It's called Imagine by Bothy Threads, and again, this is what it will look like when complete. yeah, so do I pick something that's long overdue some attention, like my Millennium Sampler? Yeah, and I have been stitching on that since 1999. Yeah, so that was a long one, or maybe Beacon Ridge, to give that a little bit an extra session, or something that I just love, like the turtle, or maybe something that I'm close-ish to finishing. My year in stitches, I've only completed 3 out of the 12 squares, but they are very small motifs, and I think that if I put in an extra couple of sessions with that would be yet another finish this year. And I could be on for a record-breaking year, the amount of finishes I've been having. So, okay. So I'll move on to the sals that I've been stitching on. The first one was the Melika Sal, Mystery Sal. They've now released all 6 parts. I completed the 3rd part down here. So I'm halfway through in terms of the number of parts, although I think they're slightly larger parts up here. But we now know, well, I now know it's a llama. And there was a lot of discussion about what could have a long neck, and was like, is it an alpaca? Is it a llama? Is it a horse? Yeah, there was a lot of discussions, but I'm really enjoying stitching on this one. Whilst the colours are a little more muted than what I'd have liked, it has been fun, and I think it is more colourful around the eyes. So I'll just hold that steady. So this is Melika Mystery Sal. It's stitched on 14 count white Ada. Most definitely not my preference, but it came in the material pack, so I just went with it. And the threads are DMC also provided by Melika in their material pack. So that's all fun. And the needle minder is also by Melika Designs. This little bee, I just thought I would team up with that. So again, really enjoyed with that. Spent quite a few days stitching on that. The next one is Hello Holly by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I'm just getting it out of the grime guard. This is an informal sale which I am running with Manx Kathy. She doesn't have an account here on FlossTube. She's over on Instagram though if you want to see all of her projects. We split up the design into 12 different sections, one for each month of this year. Last month I finished number 2, which was the whole of this tree trunk, which went on forever. There was a lot of stitches there. And then I moved on to section 3, which is this penguin, which I've sort of half finished there. And what I've been stitching this on the odd Sunday here and there. I'm part of the, should have checked this before logged on, I think it's called the Floss Boss Stitch Pit or something like that. So basically it's on Facebook. It's run by the Stitching Shack, and I am a Patreon, and you split into groups, and we sort of have battles every week. If you're a Patreon. If you're not a Patreon, you can still join in, but you only get battles twice a month. So the battle contains, you pick a day that you're going to stitch on, and you count the number of stitches, and you have your before picture and your after picture. And I found that stitching on this design, I managed to stitch more stitches in a day. So this is Hello Holly on 14 count green Ada, and the needle minder is also a Caterpillar cross stitch one. I just thought a bit of glitz and there, and I thought it was quite in keeping. It's not one that's paired with this particular design, but I just thought it was just like Christmassy, and it's the only Christmas design I've actually got started. So it's nice to do that. Christmas is my favourite time of the year. Obviously, we're just going into June, so it's not for a long time yet, but that's nice for me to stitch. And I keep that in this whip bag, which is by Stitch Mania Stash. And I don't know who this wooden thread keeper is. Excuse the zip. I'll see if there's something on the back. No, there isn't. So yes, I don't know whose that is, but I got that as a gift last Christmas from a fellow stitcher. I just love these little snow people. Yeah, and there is some glitter in there, but I don't think, oh, you might be able to catch it. So I love that bag. Okay, I'm just going to check my notes again. Whip Go. So I've mentioned Whip Go already today. I decided to have 6 designs which I thought were nearly finished, and place them in my Whip Go board 4 times to fill in the 24 spaces. And for the month of May, was chosen Frogs Kissing bookshelf, and obviously I stitched on bookshelf, and I've shown you the bookshelf, so that was complete. So again, that's off the board. But the other design which was chosen was Frogs Kissing. This design, sorry, I'm gonna have to reach down to get these ones now. This design was a Heaven and Earth Design Sal from 2015. I started this in 2015, and it's still going, I'm ashamed to say, but it has become easier. I didn't really like the colours, I didn't get on with the light colours and things, but since then Pattern Keeper's been invented, and now I use my Lowry stand, and things, and I also use Royal Rose parking method, and that is helping an awful lot. So there's my Frogs Kissing. It's currently at 18,817 stitches out of 23,850 stitches. So that's 78.8%. So whilst that is relatively close to a finish, I just don't want to stitch it monogamously. I think if I did, possibly could finish it within 2 or 3 months, but that would mean me dropping all of my other lovely designs, and I like a bit of variety, and dare I say it, a bit of colour. But I do like those frogs. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say the fabric type. The fabric type is 25 count Magic Guide. Can't really see the guidelines now because they're faded. The red lines have faded quite considerably over the years. But it was Magic Guide, and I can sort of tell that just by looking at it in person. And that's a design actually I think looks better on camera than it does in real life. So quite a few imperfections, but that's tent stitch as well, 2/1 tent stitch. And I'm sorry I'm not good at saying it, but I do try and put the before pictures in for every design, apart from the finishes ones. Yeah, so just forgive me on that one. I try to do my best, but yeah, these things happen. So hopefully I'll have been showing you the before picture. Made a small amount of progress. I think I only had 1 day on that this month, unfortunately. Just I was concentrating so much on those milestones, and and finishing on the sows, but also on those two finishes. Okay, I'm going to move on now to my focus piece, which is Mario Pose. This is designed by Not Another Stitcher. She's on Etsy. And yeah, I've tried to keep this on a weekend as much as possible. It's my weekend stitch, and I'm stitching this as part of the football stitching challenge by the Yorkshire Stitcher. Again, she's on Instagram. And I've stitched so much during this season, which has just concluded last weekend. Oh good, that could be closer for you. So Mario is stitched on 25 count easy grid or easy count fabric. This is CXC threads, stitched 1/1 full cross, and it doesn't really have a background apart from it has these sort of bubbles and like a all colour behind it. So it just has a tiny amount of background there. And I hit a major milestone this month in that I hit 20% on this design. I'm stitching this for my son, who is a Mario fanatic, and I just really wanted to stitch it before he grows up, essentially. So I want to stitch it by the end of 2029, which would be amazing. I think he would just be becoming a teenager by then, which is really scary. But yeah, it'd be really nice to get it hung up in his room, and so that's why I'm prioritising that one. And I'm going to continue doing the football sal. So it's currently at 20.63%. This is just over 10,000 stitches, so that was another big milestone. So yeah, so 10,000 stitches is approximately 20% of the 49,255 stitches total. So yeah, I'm doing the Royal Rose method of Parker, and I just absolutely love the fact we've now got a whole eyebrow and we've got part of one of his eyes. The skin, if I really close, you can see it's got yellows and peaches and pinks and whites. It's, yeah, I thought it would be quite flat from the picture, and I was worried about the design being pixelated, but it's really not. It's absolutely gorgeous actually to stitch, and challenging. But I'll be sort of happy to get out of this whole red nonsense and get onto the background again, and around over to his glove. I'm hoping I get in June. I'm going to use instead of using my team's progress in the league, I'm going to be watching what I can of the World Cup here in the UK, and follow England, and their results will determine the number of stitches that I'm stitching. I do have some way to catch up. I think I've got about 500 stitches to catch up from the season just gone, so that would take me probably across to the rest of his cap and finish off the bit of the skin that we can see there. So really, I really do love this one, and it's a lovely design to do, and that's sort of like my weekend treat to work on that project. Okay, so I'm having to duck down again. And that is held in this bit bag by Turtle Bay Stitches. She only had one of these, and it was just as I was kitting up for the design. The annoying thing is that I only put half of the CXC threads in the bag because I thought it was getting a bit full. So I stuffed the rest back in the postal bag. I can't find those other threads at all. So I think I'm going to have to order ones as I run out. There were a few gaps in those stitches. And also I forgot to say some of the DMC, so these lower numbers, the new numbers, CXC don't do those shades as yet. So I'm combining with a few DMC threads for those. So yeah, absolutely love that project bag as well. Just going to put that down for later, stitching that later. And my wheel, which I spun last month, I was Sycamore Gap and also Beacon Ridge, and unfortunately I didn't get to either of those last month. Just busy with lots of other things. But what I did do is I stitched on a design which had been spun earlier in the year, and I just spent an evening stitching on it. It's called Blossom and Hedgehog. It was featured in World of Cross Stitching magazine, and I was stitching it on this beautiful, I think it is 36 count even weave, and it's this hedgehog. I'm just going to fold it up so you can see the colours just better. And hopefully I've shown you the before picture, and you'll see I didn't really do an awful lot last month. What I did, I focused on this little dark flower. I think this one here, this dark flower, dark pink flower, and the hedgehog is actually, the body of the hedgehog is nearly done. The back stitch is what's going to really bring it to life, I think. Now this is what it should look like and what it looked like in the magazine, and you can probably tell by the piece of fabric how big it is that there were meant to be things surrounding it. So there's meant to be branches, and there's meant to be the words "live life in full bloom," but I'm sort of not feeling it, not complete it fully. So what I think I've decided to do is to stitch the hedgehog, put all the back stitch in, and then in the space just above the sort of like the face, I'm going to put a couple of extra flowers in, and then just call that a finish, because I don't really want to be stitching all of the additional floral surrounding, and I'm not bothered really about the words either. So that will be another finish in the near future, I'm hoping. Maybe that will be form part of my March Madness next year. It was very good luck for a lot of my other designs this year. So sorry about the zip. So that was Blossom and Hedgehogs. The other one it's chosen is that I didn't get to. So Sycamore Gap and Beacon Ridge, I am going to do those this month and not spin the wheel this month. This is a picture of what Beacon Ridge looks like when complete. So it's by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Dennis Lewin. So it's a lighthouse, and it's sort of like a sunset, I think. It's a red sky at night, and it's a ship in the far distance. So I've been working on the sky and more sky. It's actually surprising about how much I've completed. I'm actually 10% of the way through, but then you're thinking, that's just sky, and you'll be right. And this is huge. This is a piece of 18 count magic guide. Yeah, can't even see it. So this is what I've been stitching so far. I'm converting this to Royal Rose. There's a lot of solid sort of lilacs in the top here, and I'm just really working across this a bit of blue, and I'm quite close to the edge now, so there's going to be a bit of the top of the lighthouse, and I'm hoping to hit that next, just so there's a bit of interest to the stitching really. I don't get me wrong, I do love the colours, and it's quite relaxing having big blocks of colours after doing a design with lots of colour changes such as Mario. Yeah, so I'm hoping to make quite a lot of progress on that one. I'm not going to set myself any sort of like particular stitch numbers, but I'm hoping maybe 500 stitches on that one. It's fairly straight, like I say, it's fairly straightforward. Stitching, not well at the moment. There's not that many colour changes, and it'll just be really good to get to that lighthouse. And who knows, I might go off piste and start moving downwards, so I can split it between something that's interesting and the sky. And that, unfortunately, is just in a paper wallet at the moment. I did buy a whip bag, but it was an extra large one, and now I'm sort of like in two minds what to do with it, whether to use it for that project or to just keep it in mind for the future. So other things on my wheel are it's Sycamore Gap. Sycamore Gap, showed you the picture earlier, but I'll show you it again. This is what it will look like when it's finished, and this is what it will look like. Well, you're going to see what it looks like now. So at the moment I've been working from the tree in the middle outwards, so I'm almost finished this page. It is a paper chart, but the sky is very blocky. I should be able to stitch this up, and last time I did stitch a lot up when I was on a retreat, so I'm looking hopefully to make quite a lot of progress on that. And with it being added to my whip go wheel, that will make a lot of difference. Phew, I'm back. I had to pause the video just then because my son and husband came through the door. Fortunately, it was just a passing visit. They're back out for tennis and a barbecue this afternoon. Unfortunately, I then got pulled into sorting out some of his swaps for stickers for the World Cup. So I've been busy fielding emails and questions and queries and all the lovely mum stuff. So I just wanted to finish telling you what my plans were. Now on the Whip Go board, this month for June has been selected Sycamore Gap, which has been mentioned a lot already in this video. So that's quite handy. So that will get some love this month for definite. And the other one is my Sally Squirrel from Gecko Rouge. I'm sorry for the crinkling. That's what she'll look like when she's complete. And this is what she looks like now. So this is a very, very small full coverage design. And this was from a Sal also in 2015. And I think I didn't check before this video, but I think she's at about 80% through. Just got to do the rest of her tail here, and there's just a couple of rows of lots and lots of oak leaves like this one. So she's gonna get some much needed love this month. Yeah, after the failed sort of outing with the March Madness, where I couldn't find my usual needle, and ended up using a sharp needle, which didn't work out whatsoever. I'm really glad that she's going to get some decent amount of time this month. I don't know why I'm trying to put that in a plastic bag. It lives, she lives in this whip bag, which has got all these autumnal leaves, which I thought was just perfect. And sorry if you can hear that beeping. I've just put the oven on for my evening meal. Yes, so aside from that, in terms of plans, I want to stitch on my cells, complete the respective part 4s from Melika Cell and the Hello Holly. And I think I've already mentioned that I stitch Mario at the weekends, and I'm going to try and catch up with all of the Premier League stitches that I need to do. But then also the World Cup starts in a couple of weeks' time, so we're quite excited about that. My son wants to finish his sticker book by then, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, it's exciting times. And summer is finally here. I don't particularly like the heat, but it gives me an excuse to stay indoors and stitch. So with that, thank you so much for your time, especially if you've got to the end. If you like what you see, please consider liking this video and subscribing. It really does help other stitchers see what you've been seeing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to showing you what I get up to in the month of June. In the meantime, happy stitching.